Hello everyone, you're watching the program Moscow-Mosaic. I'm the host, Mike Gibson. Today, our program is from Africa. I'm in Algeria, the largest country on this amazing continent. Algeria has a rich and distinctive culture, traditions and history. And an important part of this story is the friendship with Russia, which we will tell you all about in our program today. This is going to be interesting. Stay tuned.
On today's program, a delegation from the Moscow government paid a working visit to Algeria. Intermunicipal cooperation at a capital city level is actively developing. We held a large number of meetings with various ministries of Algeria. Moscow and Algeria are opening new opportunities for business partnership. Moscow is well positioned to share its experience and help our Algerian friends develop and advance, particularly in the field of cutting-edge technology. Music brings people together. Russian artists took part in the 15th International Festival of Symphonic Music in Algeria. The audience tonight was incredibly warm, and they were so supportive when we came out on stage. The People's Democratic Republic of Algeria, or simply Algeria, is the largest country in Africa by territory. It is situated in the north of the continent, along the Mediterranean coast. A vast portion of Algeria's territory is covered by the Sahara Desert. The northern coastal zone, however, is densely populated. This is where the major cities are located, including the capital, which shares its name with the country itself, Algiers. The country's history encompasses more than 2,000 years of conquest and struggle for independence, as well as a unique crossroads of civilizations that left behind an extraordinary wealth of historical monuments and landmarks. I believe Algeria is underrated as a tourist destination. More needs to be done to promote its historical sites. For example, Algeria has hotel complexes. Lots of other things exist. For example, relaxation zones, and not only on the coast, of course, but in the desert. The Sahara naturally is a truly attractive place to visit. Therefore, I would recommend not only Muscovites, but all residents of the Russian Federation, that they explore this country's history more deeply, and of course visit it at the earliest opportunity. For our film crew, traveling through Algeria was a genuine journey back through the ages.
We're now located in the famous Kasbah district. This is where the history of Algeria started, and it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
The Kasbah is the citadel and old quarter of the city of Algiers, located on a hillside overlooking the Mediterranean, on the site of the ancient Phoenician city of Icosium. Its winding, narrow streets give it the feel of a maze, much like the traditional Islamic cities called Medinas.
The architecture of Algiers reminds me of Paris. That's really no surprise. After all, for 132 years, this country was a French colony. Right behind me here is one of the most famous buildings of the capital of Algeria. It's called La Grande Poste, and as the name implies, this is the central post office.
The country's people greet Russian visitors with great warmth and friendliness, and it's easy to understand why. The friendship between Russia and Algeria spans many decades. One of the first countries to establish diplomatic relations with the newly independent People's Democratic Republic of Algeria was the Soviet Union on 23rd of March 1962. On the 26th of December 1991, Algeria officially recognized the Russian Federation. This North African state was ultimately the first Arab country with which Russia finally signed a declaration of strategic partnership. Our relations, as is well known, are long-standing and very warm. But at a certain point, due to the difficulties that arose here in the 1990s, we unfortunately stepped back from our economic presence in this country, and now we have to make every effort to return. Our political relations remain strong, as do those in education and a number of other areas. But I do have to say, from an economic perspective, we are clearly not yet among the leading countries that are developing ties with Algeria. 2023 marked an important milestone in the effort to renew Moscow's ties with its Algerian partners. In 2023, we signed the first memorandum of understanding in our history between Moscow and the Algerian capital. The program covers cooperation across virtually all municipal areas: urban development and city planning, the social sphere, healthcare and education. We also agreed with our colleagues to actively develop cultural cooperation and sporting exchanges, and to share expertise in the field of digitalization. A significant contribution to strengthening ties between the two countries was the opening in 2023 of a new memorial square in the very heart of Moscow, on Spiridonovka Street, where an obelisk was erected in memory of the Algerian hero Emir Abdelkader el-Jazairi. Today, he is a true national hero of Algeria. In June 2023, the Algerian president, Mr. Tebboune, made a state visit to the Russian Federation, during which he attended the official unveiling ceremony of the monument. And for us, this is also a symbol of Russian-Algerian friendship. Algeria is today a priority partner for Moscow in North Africa. The Department for External Economic and International Relations of the Russian capital is building strong and mutually beneficial ties with representatives of various ministries of the Algerian Republic. During the 17th International Economic Forum, Russia-Islamic World Kazan Forum, the Moscow stand was visited by Algeria's Minister of Knowledge, Economy, Startups and Micro-Enterprises, Nuruddin Ouada. He was shown one of the city's flagship projects, Moscow's digital twin.
So I have the chance to discover what Moscow is doing in terms of technology. I have the chance to discover the digital twin and this wonderful technology that allows today to have smart management, but also modern management. And in the same time, during my meeting, we discovered a lot of other ICT technology, especially in video surveillance, in city management, and also for smart transportation system. So I think actually there is a connection between Moscow and Algiers on this topic, and we will be glad if there will be a technological project between the two cities.
One of the clearest examples of successful political, economic, and cultural humanitarian dialogue between the two countries was the visit by a Moscow government delegation to the Algerian capital in late April 2026. The Russian delegation was led by the Minister of the Moscow government and head of the Department for External Economic and International Relations, Sergei Cheryomin. Our visit to Algeria reflects our commitment to continuing cooperation with one of our key partners in North Africa. Today, Moscow's foreign trade turnover with the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria stands at around $1.5 billion, and we intend to expand the scope of that cooperation. A central part of the business program was the meeting between Moscow government minister Sergei Cheryomin and Mohamed Abdenour-Rabehi, minister and governor of Algiers. We discussed the readiness of Moscow companies to explore participation in the design of new Algiers metro lines as well as the localization of production for high-tech goods and, of course, engineering products as a whole.
I'm really interested to see how the metro looks in Algeria. So let's visit.
The idea of building metro in Algiers first emerged back in the 1970s when the city was grinding to a halt under the weight of traffic. But construction was delayed for a variety of reasons, and the metro only opened in 2011. Today, the Algiers Underground consists of a single line stretching over 18 kilometers with 19 stations.
As part of the business program of the visit of the capital's delegation to Algeria, a business forum is taking place. Moscow-Algeria, strategic directions for the development of bilateral economic ties.
The main objective of the business forum was to develop commercial, foreign economic and investment cooperation, as well as to establish direct contacts between business representatives from Moscow and Algeria. For us, forums like this one are truly important because they bring our two countries and cultures closer together and, of course, help us find partners who can meet our needs. The business forum was attended by Moscow government minister Sergei Cheryomin, president of the Moscow Chamber of Commerce and Industry Vladimir Platonov, ambassador of the Russian Federation to the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria Alexei Salamatin, and many others. Also participating were Algerian entrepreneurs and representatives of the Russian business community. We have many visits, but every one of them we regard as an important event that, of course, must be nurtured. I always encourage my Algerian friends to follow the Arabic proverb, al-haraka baraka. And in our language, this means movement is life. If we don't take steps, if we don't keep moving, then naturally we will not achieve anything. Events like this one bring together the economic elite of the country, business people and entrepreneurs. We heard the Russian minister's address, which is very powerful and significant. I even asked the organizers for a text version of the speech, as it was an extremely detailed and compelling case for investing in Moscow enterprises. In his address, Vladimir Platonov, president of the Moscow Chamber of Commerce and Industry, presented innovative projects by Moscow entrepreneurs. We came here to showcase the achievements that Moscow has made in digitalization, and it truly is remarkable. Any country, any major city has an interest in security, traffic management, digitalization, and engaging with citizens through digital tools. And then there's artificial intelligence looming over all of us.
When it comes to the city of Moscow, this is the first time we're working with them. We work with specific companies. We, especially Moscow, when I visited Moscow, I was very impressed with the level of the smartness of the city. So we expect that we can take advantage of that and cooperate together to build something similar in Algeria.
There are many areas of potential, and given Moscow's presence here today, the key ones are, of course, digitalization first and foremost, and cooperation in the transport sector. There is also significant potential in the agri-food sphere, and naturally industrial cooperation. There is a wide range of industrial technologies that could be of real relevance to the Algerian economy today. Following the plenary session, business community representatives had the opportunity to make direct contacts, exchange experience, and discuss specific formats for partnership. The first day of the business program in Algeria concluded with a formal reception hosted by the Moscow government. Guests were treated to performances from soloists of the Moscow Festival Orchestra under the baton of conductor Mikhail Antonenko. Young violist Yeva Plakun, a laureate of international competitions, performed the composition by composer Franz Waxman, Fantasy on themes from the Carmen opera. Guests at the reception were also captivated by the talent of cellist Polina Tai, who performed several compositions. An important part of the cultural program was the photo exhibition, The History of Relations Between Moscow and Algeria, dedicated to the development of contacts between the two countries. The collection of photographs was specifically prepared for the event by the Historical and Documentary Department of the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the main archival directorate of the city of Moscow.
In these photos, you can see how friendship and business relations between Russia and Algeria have developed. For example, I really like this picture. It's 1964. Look, two football players from Russia and Algeria are shaking hands. And in this photo from 1985, Algerian students came to Moscow for the World Youth Festival.
These archival photographs offered a fresh perspective on the past, bringing shared historical moments back to life. The exhibition served as a reminder of the key milestones in the development of bilateral ties between Moscow and Algeria, ties that have stood the test of time.
Working with compatriots living abroad is an important part of the work of the Department for External Economic and Foreign Relations of Moscow. One of these meetings took place today, here in Algeria.
This meeting brought together Russian compatriots living in Algeria, as well as heads of local community organizations. The Moscow delegation at the event was led by the Minister of the Moscow government and head of the Department for External Economic and International Relations, Sergei Cheryomin. In his address, he spoke about how the capital is developing and what life is like in Moscow today. The minister also noted that Moscow was the first constituent entity of the Russian Federation to pass a law on support for compatriots. And no matter how difficult times have been since then, due to crises, whatever they may be, the funding line for compatriot support activities has never once been cut. And that is why we consider this one of the most important areas of Moscow's international engagement with all countries. We would like to promote Russian culture, the Russian language, and preserve our historical traditions and connections. The meeting with representatives of the Russian community in Algeria was held in a warm and friendly atmosphere. Topics included the preservation of the Russian language, the cherishing of cultural and historical ties with Russia, and the development of educational projects, as well as much more. Today's meeting is one we have long been looking forward to. We have, in fact, been working with the Moscow government for some time now. You could say for quite a while, already 3 years. So we do have an established working relationship. But what we have been missing is this kind of direct, live interaction. The Moscow government supports our work enormously. One concrete example is New Year's gifts for our children. For 3 years running now, we have been receiving gifts from the Moscow government. Embassy Counselor Minister of the Russian Federation Alexei Kochishkov spoke highly of the activities of the Russian diaspora in Algeria, in particular the work of its youth wing. He described the compatriots as a vital pillar of support for the diplomatic corps. I have worked in many countries, Mr. Cheryomin, and I assure you of this. In this country, our compatriots are the most beloved, the most active, the most delightful, the most hardworking, and I would say the most promising. An outstanding youth wing, wonderful ladies, wonderful gentlemen, remarkable children. And I trust, ladies and gentlemen, that we shall carry on together. During the Moscow delegation's visit to Algeria, a meeting took place between the minister of the Moscow government and head of the Department for External Economic and International Relations, Sergei Chiryomin, and Algeria's Minister of Foreign Trade and Export Promotion, Kamel Rezik. The ministers discussed the promotion of Algerian goods on the Russian market, as well as the exchange of expertise in trade and logistics. On that same day, the Moscow delegation, led by Minister Sergei Chiryomin, arrived at the headquarters of Algeria's Ministry of Industry. There, an official meeting was held with the head of the ministry, Mr. Yahya Bashir.
We have arrived at the Boualem Bessai Opera House. It is one of the key cultural centres of the Algerian capital. The 15th International Symphonic Music Festival is taking place here today. And of course, there will definitely be a performance by our Moscow musicians.
On the stage of the Algerian Boualem Bessai Opera House, the Moscow Festival Orchestra performed under the baton of conductor Mikhail Antonenko. The performance by the Russian musicians proved to be the true highlight of the cultural program of the Moscow delegation's visit to Algeria. The International Cultural Festival of Symphonic Music was first held in Algeria in 2009. At that inaugural edition, just 12 countries from Europe, Asia, and Africa took part. We wanted to give our country something truly beautiful, the world's symphonic music. This festival did not simply appear out of thin air. It was the result of serious, dedicated work. Over many long years, we grew and developed. And today, this festival has become one of the best known in both the country and the world. Russia is one of the founding members of this major festival. Every year, Russian musicians deliver an extraordinary emotional experience for the Algerian audience. When Russian musicians come, when Russian orchestras arrive, it is a special occasion for Algeria. The halls are packed, everyone is in awe, and of course, the level of our musicians never fails to impress. That evening was no exception. The artists treated the audience to the brilliant and unforgettable sound of the Russian School of Performing Arts. The audience tonight was extremely warm, and they were so supportive when we came off stage. It was a wonderful feeling, and it's such a joy when the house is full. I think it went brilliantly. The conductor was very clear, showed us everything perfectly. Everyone came away on a real high. I personally had a tremendous time. I felt that energy exchange during the performance. It's impossible to put it into words just how wonderful it is to perform for an audience like that. We are so grateful to the Moscow government and everyone who supported this project. For us, it was simply, like touching something close to home. Such singing, such performances. We couldn't even decide who we loved more. The Moscow cultural and business events held in Algeria in April 2026 marked a significant milestone, opening a new chapter in the dialogue between the two cities. This visit did not merely strengthen existing ties, but gave them a new resonance and scale. It was a step towards one another, a step towards a closer partnership built on trust, mutual interest, and a shared vision of the future.
The visit of the Moscow government delegation to Algeria has come to an end. These 3 days were filled with interesting events and meetings. We got a lot of vivid impressions about this beautiful city and its people. we've made new friends, and we look forward to coming back here again. This is the program Moscow-Mosaic from Algeria. I'm the host, Mike Gibson. See you next time. Bye.